Welcome back to the channel. So the other day I got to go out and do a little photo shoot with a mother and their infant child. You get between about 1 and 4 years old, and them kids start having a mind of themselves, and that's just a natural thing. No kid, it just happens to every kid. No big deal. But I thought I learned a few lessons while I was out doing that photo shoot, and I thought I'd pass them along to you. And if you're out shooting some little toddlers, maybe these tips will go in to help you. Number one is the ease into taking photos. So when the mother and her toddler arrived, man, I just grabbed my 50 millimeter and started snapping away, snap, 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 snap. And that kid caught on to it really fast, and it kind of put her off. And things wasn't going too smooth at first. She was just kind of scared of me and what I was doing. And it just kind of put her in a sour mood. So I had to kind of back off a little bit. Instead of the 50 millimeter, I went to the 7200 and stood farther away and took pictures as I could get them. And I tried not to get up in her face as much, and just try to let her to do what she wanted to do, to kind of get used to me, And I interacted with her a little bit. And I took a few pictures, and she realized that, everything was fine. Got comfortable with the whole taking pictures thing, but that took a little bit. So tip number one is don't rush in and just start taking pictures like a wild person, because that's what I did, and that wasn't the way to do it. Number two is let the kid take charge. And what I mean by that is if you like make a kid go over here or make a kid go over there or stand a certain way, or do this or do that, they're gonna get frustrated. You kind of let the kid go over here, roam over there, and you just kind of take pictures as you go. You try to work in poses and facial expressions and things with their mom, things with their family along the way. But you always want to let the kid kind of direct you in which way you're going. You don't ever want to force a kid into doing this or doing that, because they're just going to tense up. They're going to get a big frown on their face, and they're not going to have a very good time. And when they're not having a very good time, you're not going to get very good pictures. So the best thing I've found to do is just kind of let them roam, and you just kind of follow them, do what they want to do. Try to keep them as happy as possible, and you can really get some good pictures that way if you don't force the situation too much. Number three is to let your camera run. And what I mean by that is you're going to have a bunch of pictures. I mean a bunch of pictures, because you can't really say, okay, freeze this way or freeze that way, or move your hand that way or this way, or smile or look my way, or any of that kind of stuff. They don't know who you are. They're not going to do what you want them to do. So you're going to have to just sit there. You're going to have to put your camera on high or high plus and just let it run. And you'll get some good pictures. Don't worry about that. But you're just going to have to let your camera run. But if you try to take just a few pictures on single mode or low burst mode, you're going to miss a whole bunch of potential keepers. And because them kids they're moving fast. They're moving here. They're happy 1 second and mad the next. I mean, you got to be ready for all those situations, and to do that, you really got to let your camera run. Number four is time. Everything is going to take longer than what you would expect it to take. When we were out taking pictures that day, I wanted to be over at one side of the botanical gardens at just about sunset, and we were taking pictures. And I was keeping an eye on the sun, and they wanted to go change. So I said, okay, you guys go and change. And by the time the changing spot was on the other side of the botanical gardens, we had to walk all the way to the other side of the botanical gardens. And I thought I'd timed it out just right, but it took forever, and I mean forever, for the whole entourage to walk from one side of the botanical gardens to the other. I mean, and it's just something I wasn't prepared for myself. The kid wanted to stop and do this and do that, and they wanted to look at this and that, and we take a few pictures here and there. And we just barely got back to the spot that I want to take pictures right at sunset. Just barely had a ray of light left, and I think the pictures turned out really good, but I should have budgeted for a little bit more time, because I had a few more spots that I wanted to take pictures of over there in that area, but we just didn't get there in enough time because everything just takes so much more time when you're dealing with little kids. And that's okay. I mean, that's just, I think that's just the nature of the game, but it's something that I wasn't prepared for, and hopefully you can learn from that. Number 5 is always have a helper if possible. Like when we went out and took pictures, I had a helper, and I'm not much of a kid person, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not really comfortable with other people's kids, and I really have a hard time keeping me entertained. The helper that I had, she's never met a kid that she didn't want to pick up and hold and entertain and talk to, and all this and that. And so she really helped out. And I think it was an important asset to the overall shoot to have her there for sure, because I'm just not comfortable with that. And so they let me focus on taking pictures and trying to get as many shots as I could. And my helper, who was a kid person, was able to entertain the child, kind of get everybody going in the right direction. Yeah. You should try to deliver all the photos that you take that day. Like even some of the ones that you might not think are that great or you're not particularly proud of, they might have a certain facial expression or certain movement or just something different about them that, doesn't really mean much to you, but to your client or to the mom or parents or whatever, that's what they want. That's the facial expression they want. That's the pose they want. They see the kid every day. They know what's natural for them, what they look like when they're in certain situations. So I think it's a good idea to deliver all your photos and let the client pick which ones they want. So I think it's always important to show all the pictures that you have, even the ones you think aren't going to be good at all. You should go ahead and show that to them, because that just might be what they're wanting. And number 7 is you better bring a good sense of humor, because when you're trying to focus on taking pictures and trying to get the best results for your client, it can be pretty frustrating when you're dealing with a toddler. I mean, I'm just not going to lie to you. If you start to get frustrated with the whole situation, it's going to make the kid mad, it's going to make the parent mad, and it's just going to be a bad situation. And, the kid's just doing what's natural. You always have to keep that in mind. The kid is just doing what's natural to him or her. And I think that's what helped make this shoot a success. I'm pretty patient, and have a pretty decent sense of humor, so whatever was happening, it wasn't really bothering me. I had my helper to kind of steer things along, and I think everything turned out great. So after the photo shoot, she posted all this stuff on Facebook and started getting a few calls here and there about, prospective people wanting me to take their pictures. And I've really not really thought about doing this professionally just a whole lot. It's more of a hobby as of now. The thing about, when you start making your hobby into a source of income, it starts to become more work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not quite sure if I want to do that. I think most of the people will just be wanting pictures slightly better than their iPhone, a little bit edited, just some pretty decent pictures. That's really what they want. Some decent pictures at a decent price. Not much, problems. That's kind of just what they want. But there's going to be those certain clients you get that want to make you toss your camera straight in the trash can. And that's really what I'm afraid of. Taking that next step into the professional realm. This is a hobby. I don't want to have to deal with demanding clients. I just don't think that's something that I want to do, and that's not one of the things that keep me from proceeding further into the photography world. Maybe start getting paid gigs and stuff like that. I don't know. I just want to keep it casual. So let me know down in the comments if you've ever thought about taking on jobs with your photography or videography, and kind of what your hurdles were to get to that next step. That's kind of where I'm at now. I need to take that next step, but I'm not quite sure if I want to do it or not. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.